Harold, what time? What
I
time were you?
think work in progress is okay.
What time were you born? I know you're a Virgo.
I'm always getting confused about the time. It's 10, but I always forget whether it's 10 in the evening or 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
But if you want to calculate it, you can kind of back engineer it because Scorpio is my ascendant.
In Berlin. You were born in Berlin.
No, no, Bochum-Wattenscheid. I can write it down if you want to make the.
Yeah, I'll have you write that down. Or
Yeah.
um, so you're a Scorpio ascendant, and
Mm,
your moon sign.
I don't know.
Okay, I have a Scorpio moon, Harold.
Okay, if you don't find Wattenscheid, it doesn't exist anymore. It's been put into a bigger community, so
What
possibly
is
it's
it
not
close to?
Bochum. Bochum is okay.
Sorry.
Bochum is a big city. This is more than 500,000. You should find
Okay.
that one.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let's go for it.
Do you want me to cut out all that previous part
Yes, please.
where you're eating and all right, so we're starting with twin flames.
You already recalled?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's go for it.
All right. You start.
Me.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to start.
Well, not you're
Okay.
supposed to start. What is your perspective about twin flames and the
Mm,
difference between the split and the monadic?
okay. Um, when you just for the basics, when you took it from the deep soul level, um, creation has a lot to do with symmetry,
Okay.
and a single soul, as we know it, is kind of a vortex system, and it's always kind of spinning to the left or spinning to the right. So, for symmetry reasons, never ever soul like we know it is created alone. My favorite picture of soul creation is imagine a wave coming in on a beach, but instead of breaking, it hovers off
Okay.
and forms a toroidal form.
One.
One. But this is not possible. You always would create two of them to have the spins balanced because the equations need always to be. This is kind of somehow related to the principle of the paradox. It always needs to be nothing, like everything is nothing and nothing is everything, and eternity is now. And, it's always kind of
Yes.
hooking on itself at the back of itself
Yeah. And this
as
is
a paradox.
the traditional twin flame, right? Not the monadic.
Um, and this is kind of the principle of creation. When you want to create something, it needs to be balanced. So the early forms of life, without having a physical body that replicates just as spiritual beings, most of them actually were balanced. They had both in it, and you still find the concept in nature, mostly with plants.
Okay.
That you have one plant that is both female and male, and it fertilizes itself, or it's creating offspring as real spin-offs, kind of little plants growing from the edges of the leaf, falling down, getting roots. So whatever concept in life you can reproduce without having two different sexes. So I know this because um, when you do kind of research on root cause of spiritual issues, often you find the pain of separation from your other half as one of the root causes of certain types of trauma or pain. And when you have had that in a spiritual process a couple of times, you can see, depending on the age of the soul and the environment of creation, it can be more or less heavy. Because if you have been created as twin flames, like two in one batch, the pain of separation is very subtle and doesn't go so deep
Okay.
because you have been separated from the moment of separation. And the aspects you get from that are more beautifully thrilling. Yeah, like finally you find someone, and when you get together, everything feels like perfect, you know?
Oh, that's the fantasy. Yeah.
No, you have that.
Yes.
Even if you have problems in the relationship because things are speeding up
Yeah.
in a way that is hard to digest. Of course, this can give you trouble, but the feeling of attraction, the promise, is it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like I have been feeling like incomplete ever since, and suddenly I see someone, and he is at the same time the opposite of me, because everything in him spins into the other direction, but the same because it's the same picture, but complementary, the opposite.
So polarity.
The polarity. And this is kind of a unique feeling you have if you meet it. Then you have beings that incarnate as humans who have been had some other forms of beingness before, who originally have been created as a non-sexual monad. And when they enter this realm and they say, I would like to, or yeah, I would like to incarnate as a human being, uh, creation says, sorry, this is impossible. You might, if you choose to incarnate as two human beings.
Okay.
Thing is, we need to split you apart before you can.
Okay. But monads don't experience that.
Mo- the monads who incarnate, the former monads who incarnate here, they have all gone through that process. And this separation, when you have been one for a while, this is highly traumatic. And then you collide with all the trauma of that separation. Yeah. So this is just something what you can experience if you go really, really deep back into the origins of a soul creation and deal with the trauma that is coming from that creation process,
Yeah.
or later from the splitting process. And the other half, what you can observe when you have the luck to meet your twin flame, or the bad luck, or the tough luck, or
No,
whatever luck you want to call it.
it, the good or bad luck is, I think, determined by the person.
Yeah, it's that you have this feeling of completion when the other one is around. And you don't need to do much to have that feeling. It's completely enough to have him or her around. It's like, oops, perfect. Everything is balanced, everything is in peace. And then life happens and nothing is in peace.
Well,
Be- because, you know, souls who have been separated, they have different parts in a good shape and other parts in the traumatized shape. And whenever you have a difference between the two twin flames, one will trigger the healing in the other. If not instantly, then with a lot of pressure.
but
Yeah.
isn't it next to, so if one half is doing the work, does that create a gravitational pull for the other one? And it can be overwhelming for the one that's feeling the gravitational pull,
Yes. Yes.
but not,
Certain things, it's enough when one does it, and it has no other chance than to get sorted on the other end as quick as possible. Some things still need time, and this can build up a huge pressure. Like when I met my twin flame, it was completely impossible to become a couple because life was not even giving the space for it.
Right.
She was
Did
a
you,
single mom taking care of two dying crazy parents, working shifts in hospitals 24/7. So there was not even space for a relationship in that life. And I was married with the two kids. Still, we realized, oops, you know, looks like you're the other half of my soul.
so you knew that for years before you met?
Yes,
I
yes,
always wondered that question because I know you talked about her coming into the bookstore and buying unique bookstores. And so I was curious when you finally realized, or had you
like
always known?
end of the first year of seeing her every now and then. But there was no way to bring it to any fruitful alignment or relationship because um, it would have been a complete disaster
Yeah. Just
from the
because of the
state.
complications? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not supposed to be, and universe kind of played funny games whenever I said, okay, I think I need to be completely honest with myself and with my still wife and say, I can't play this theater of being a family anymore because there's something else out there. I have no clue what is going to happen with this, but whenever I tried that, it used to happen around Christmas for whatever reason. Every single year around Christmas, I gathered all my strength and my courage and I said, I need to make a point right now and here. Whenever I was 1 millimeter from making a point, I got a call from my twin flame about the problems and the sorrows and the whereabouts she had with her new boyfriend. Which was like, oh, didn't you get that I'm on the way?
Yes. Yeah.
How could you not feel that I'm coming?
Yes.
And she instinctively was hiding away from that encounter because it would have been pointless. And then years passed, and I could solve the scarcity abundance issues for myself, and my marriage ended in the correct way. And um, so we have our chance now, and it's
That,
quite intense in the sense of it's in certain aspects it's completely impossible for me to stay injured because she's not injured at the same point, so we can't form a codependency, and she's completely clear in the perception of where I'm injured, and for her it's what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Why can't you draw boundaries? Fucking hell? Why can't you simply draw boundaries? Why are you always everybody's darling? Why do you need to be loved by everyone? What's wrong with you? You know?
well, I know she likes me, so
Can you just kick his ass?
yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't you just kick his ass? He's a pain in the ass, so beat back.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's a lot of pressure unfolding to get that part sorted out. And the other way around, I'm not going to spread the word because this is private, but there are also issues where I'm clear and she's not by the history she comes from.
Oh, that was my other question.
So it
Is
can be a rough ride.
yes, that was my other question. When people are married to other partners and they become destructive when leaving their marriages or leaving their children, and they push each other to leave the marriages, which can be very painful for the kids,
mm,
and involving them somewhat in the process, like not caring that pulling your family apart right now
mm.
would be harmful.
Um, Actually, I had an exciting experience last weekend. How to do it properly
Okay.
when you come into that situation,
Okay.
if it's of that quality. I mean, was an extreme one. It was like um, a family constellation work, and there was a grandfather who had left his wife, the grandmother of the client,
Okay.
for her sister.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Painful,
Very painful.
very painful. And out of that pain, all the judgments in the family stood against this grandfather. How dare you do something that ugly and dirty and unloyal? And everyone in the family, in the lineage, had this um, blade in the back
Okay.
from his decision, the female line.
Yep.
This is what we were looking for. Where does the feeling of having a blade in your back come from? And we did constellation work, and I stood in the position of that grandfather who was supposed to be the asshole. And I never felt better in my life than in his position. Completely clear. I had a really male, dark voice rolling the R's as if there's a tank in my back. War. Stood strong there. And the first thing that happens, the grandma that supposed to be the victim in this story. First, she screamed at her sister. Yeah, you slut! How could you steal my husband? And he went like, yeah, being slutty. That was something she was excellent in, you know, not like you. And then he turned angry and said, what do you think the Lord gave us flesh for? Bam! It was kind of the first hit in her face. Then she turned around to him and screamed, you betrayed me. You broke the marriage. How could you? How, you know, completely exploded in anger. And he just went like, me? Me breaking the marriage? Are you insane? Do you think it needs a different man to fuck you for you breaking the marriage? You broke that marriage by not being my wife. Bam!
Um,
Slap in her face.
yeah.
And then she started to apologize. But what should the people think? And this is what you do, and the village, and the Catholic Church, and excuses, excuses, everything that she felt as external pressure. And he just said, this is once that was actually the first one. When you have discovered this, there's no way you can keep on pretending. And everyone in the room went like, discover what? And he was patiently waiting for anyone in the family line to perceive that what he meant was love. And no one could name it. And then finally he said, this is love. Something you have no clue about, obviously, when you can't even name it. That was kind of the first act. Um, and the most beautiful one was this grandma kind of, she was slapped out of her ego. So finally she broke and started to go into regret and tears. And then this grandfather said, now where you are facing love, I am the first one to stand with you. Because the promise I gave, till death separates us, is a promise. And we both know that death does not exist. And this completely whitewashed her soul, you know?
It's
Seeing the asshole being the first one and the only one to stand with her when she's in real pain. And then he just held her field until she was through the worst processing. And then he turned to her sister, that was his second wife,
yeah.
and so tenderly he asked her, was it okay for you that I said it like that? And she turned around, they were both all the time kind of hugging each other in the constellation field. And she turned around and she said, of course that was okay. It has nothing to do with us.
So the husband and the sister-in-law that he married, they were twin flames?
Possibly.
Okay.
We didn't figure out, but they behaved like. Definitely they behaved like. And I had to think about, because you said if you stand to the discovery that there is a twin flame out there and you need to dissolve a relationship, there is a way to be 100% clear, 100% in the vibration of love. To speak the truth because it is the truth. To dissolve things that do not comply with the order anymore. The divine order, the order of love. You need to pretend, you need to lie, and this is not okay on no level. So you need to just cut through and say what is. And there always is the possibility to say that out of this honesty that is based in love, even if if it hurts. And it took like 2 generations until the mess this truth created
Came out.
could dissolve, but at the end of the day, it won. Yeah, so sometimes apparently you need to be a little bit patient.
Yeah. You talked about your own emotions, like one being scarcity consciousness, why you couldn't come together. What are some other possible emotions when two people are twin flames and are not coming together? It can,
Mm.
for me, you said that it was the belief of believing that there ever was a separation.
The most common reason is that when twin flames come into this realm, they need to contract a dark entity that has to promise, it's kind of hired and booked and paid and contracted to make sure that the twin flames never become a couple. This is kind of one of the written laws for this realm, because it's a lab environment. We are supposed to solve the satanic mess. And when twin flames work together, the solution comes too quick, and it's not a real solution. It's like it's not a valid creation of a healing blueprint of a problem that is more severe in other spheres than it is within a twin flame relationship.
Would you like to mention the name of the entity?
Oh, everyone has its own. So if you suspect that you're around with your twin flame, but something is always getting in between, like thunderstorms, car accidents, other people hijacking the other one, losing addresses, telephone numbers that disappear, whatever
Well,
is of that sort of magic, then
yeah.
you just call in the entity that is responsible for keeping you apart.
Okay.
And you say thank you for your service. And you know the quarantine situation on this realm is finished. There's no need anymore to keep twin flames apart because the solution has been delivered. And now I really would like to be with my love, and you're fired.
So the other concept that I have seen is if one person has a different spouse in their wife seat in family constellations. So there's no position for the other person to come in. They're just constantly auditioning when there's no seat even available.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, this is when they pop into the life too late and the seats are occupied.
But
But
they can
this
be
is
removed, right?
yes, you can clear the family constellation
Okay.
until it works. The trick is just that you do not chuck them out from their seat. You honor their position.
What do you mean? So if someone else is your spouse, before you chuck them out, you honor their position.
Yes. You acknowledge that they have been there before you.
Okay.
It's, when this is kind of a completely weird discovery that whenever you are 1 millimeter away from a solution, you cross a paradox.
Yes.
And and when you don't cross a paradox, you already can suspect that the solution is not for keeps or for real or for anything. Yeah? When you see the paradox, you can already relax and say, "Yeah, there we go." And family systems, the most toxic thing within family systems are lies because they stop the energy from flowing. So if let's say there is someone in a family who thinks this is my father, but actually the father is someone else and it has been hidden from everyone else, that he's actually half Italian from the last holiday.
Mhm.
The moment you acknowledge the Italian lover as the father, the energy can flow from the side of the biological father, and then you honor the non father for his difficult duty to be the father in, how do you call that? The functional father, although he does not have the emotional bonding to the child. And you love him and you honor him for that. So all the positions are loved and honored. And then the entire thing is relaxing, the energy can flow, and there's no need for turbulences. The need for a turbulence is there when something blocks. When pressure is building up, then things get ugly. So whatever was, you can't neglect it, you can't make it never happened. It's impossible. So you'd better make your peace with what was and honor people for what they are, especially if kids are involved. It's extremely important. If it's just a random lover who is still in place, this is something else. Then you would check for subconscious codependencies
Okay.
to solve the situation. But the moment there are children involved, there are higher forces involved.
What happens if you can feel the phase lock with your split twin or monadic twin, but then it's not has not grounded in 3D yet? Is that the same entity that would prevent that?
It can be the entity. Once the entity is out of the game, you double check, see if something has changed. Not every twin flame um, interaction needs to be a partnership in form of a sexual relationship.
That was my question.
Yeah, I have seen twin flames who came as mother and daughter or mother and son,
Yeah.
I have seen twin flames that came in form of a young actress and an elderly mentor
Okay.
that introduced her into the Hollywood business. Um, there are many, many forms of interaction that can be divine in a way that need this complementary and similar quality at the same time. And the main point is being together, because having the
In
other way around
3D. In
in 3D, having the other one around is what it needs to feel complete. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And when you don't follow that desire of nature, it's getting complicated. I remember another client. Um, she already suffered from kidney failure, decided to switch off the machines keeping her alive and simply die without knowing why. And
Why?
then it turned out that she had a twin that was also the twin flame who didn't make it. So she was born alone, and there was always this longing to be with the twin in the uterus. And the twin that died was out there on the other side and was longing to come back in as her child. Yeah? But she was longing to die to be with the twin.
Was she
So,
conscious of where the feeling was coming from?
no, no, it just turned out during the process work.
Okay.
This is what you do when you make this type. You look for the root cause of things.
Okay.
And normally it's not that difficult to find a root cause. You just need to know how to look. And this was it was so funny because the dad twin said, I want to be born through you. This is actually the only thing. If it's not this lifetime, it's next lifetime, but this is what I want. So if it's this lifetime, would be better. She said, can't you see I'm sick? I'm kind of dying,
Yeah.
in this state. How could I even think about involving a partner that then is losing me?
Yeah.
I need to go through this alone. I can't put this on someone else's shoulders, who loves me and is then just seeing me dwindle away, leaving him with a baby. And the other twin flame constellation work said, I don't care. I don't care if you die. I
Did
just want
she,
to be with you.
did she die? Did she pass?
No, no, no. And it was kind of twisted because she couldn't have a baby
Yeah.
because she felt sick and wanted to die to get on the other side, and the other side wanted to get in as a baby. So um, yeah, if they just swap places, it doesn't really help.
So what was the
And
resolution?
the resolution was this. It's not exactly to our topic, but it's interesting because it's a major aspect in the healing work. Um, what it needs is acknowledge that you want to die. You know the reason? Acknowledge that you want to die. Feel it. Feel the death wish in you. And then allow yourself to feel that way. It's okay to have this wish to go to the other side. It's okay. It's just okay.
It's a little
No
bit
need,
exciting, Harold.
no need to. And then, but there's a reason why you came.
Yes.
Yeah. And she said, because I want to live.
Mhm.
And then acknowledge that you want to live. Okay. Apparently, I want to live because I wouldn't have come if not. And now allow yourself to want to live. Say it's okay that you want to live. And like that, you maneuver the awareness of the emotion and the saying yes to the emotion.
Okay.
You maneuver them into the heart space. And this is what a heart space can carry. It can carry a paradox without any problems. The brain can't.
Yeah.
For the brain, it is like, oh, tilt. But for the heart, it's yes, it's both. It's both at the same time. And then it's just like saying, and now choose. What are you going to do? Live or die? And when you make the choice in exactly that spot, you're through the paradox and life can continue.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how you pull a person like that out of the death spiral. Acknowledging the wish and then bringing him or her to the point where a holistic choice can be made. And luckily, she chose life. If it would have been the other choice, all you can do is stay with her until she's done. You know, because then it goes quick. But like that, U-turn back to life. And maybe she's even going to have a baby. Theoretically, she's
So
young enough.
so he might come in.
Okay.
So
Um,
what about I have some people that I know, they actually know who their twin flame is, and they're like, no, not right now. I can love them from afar
yeah,
because
this is um, fearing the intensity of the pressure to develop.
so how would they would deal with the fear of what's potentially going to come up for them?
I guess so.
That would be the emotion. Because yeah, I do know
Mm,
someone that's actively like,
mm.
I think I'm better off without my twin and love her from a distance.
Uh, Probably it's about the loss of control.
Okay.
Because if you're living control patterns,
Yeah.
mental control patterns,
Yeah.
this is kind of the first stupid thing to melt away.
Okay.
And if you're not willing to let go of mental control, you can't do that. It's impossible.
And what is the difference between the split souls and the monadic? Because we talked about some of the rituals that were done to separate twin flames, and I never had a resonance point with that. I never, like, it never connected with me. And I know for certain that I'm a monad.
Mm. We came across kind of early rituals where kind of when healthy tribes living in the divine order had to be integrated into the satanic principle. It was very important to separate the twin flames. So there was kind of a ritual where, how did that go? Um,
It was where one twin had to watch the other
yeah,
twin be,
one twin was tortured.
yeah,
So let's say the lady was tortured and the man was forced to watch it. And then they tell him, we stop the torture of your wife instantly when you agree to rape a different woman. And then out of love, probably, maybe, possibly, the man will rape another woman, and then they will allow the woman or force the woman to watch her man rape another woman without knowing why. So you create kind of a disgust,
yeah,
forcibly create a disgust feeling that sits so deep because it's the anchoring right at the breaking point. So whenever you see that one, you go like, you will never ever again, you know?
yeah. Is usually the woman that's raped by the man, do they some kind of develop some false story that the woman that they raped is their twin? Where the confusion starts sometimes?
This is the Eve and Lilith story.
Correct.
There is an archetype that sits deep. I don't know exactly where it's rooting from, whether it's the real story of Adam, Eve, and Lilith. But
Who would be the Lilith? Would Lilith be the raped one or the original partner?
I, I'm not aware that the stories are related.
Oh,
This is something that I came across as kind of both the biblical paradise story, just that actually in the Bible there is no Lilith mentioned,
correct.
and it's only Eve.
Yep.
Yeah? And Lilith was the original twin flame, and Eve was a black magic creation taking from the rib, which means kind of it's a genetic experiment to create the perfect match sexually. That is, yeah, that's kind of the fake twin flame
Yeah, the
concept.
fake twin flame. Yeah.
And then it's kind of interrelated with the story of the beginning of the Atlantic Lemurian War, where actually Adam was the king of Lemuria, Lilith was the queen of Lemuria, and then the prince of Atlantis came in and convinced Adam, it might be better to take this woman as a wife because she's one of our priests. And
Yeah.
when you make that family bondage with one of our lineages, then it's unlikely to have war. And the second good idea is start to build up weaponry because my people are hungry for war and they will never kind of let go from that idea to conquer Lemuria unless Lemuria is capable of being in self-defense. And it was exactly the opposite. They would have never attacked a peaceful tribe, but a tribe that carries weapons invites to war. So
Yeah.
those were the two deceptions. And um, the twin flame, Lilith, would have seen the trickery. Yeah, so she needed to be replaced by the fake one to give bad advice. And this is how the the last big war started.
So, from what I remember, several of my loved ones started visiting Atlantis from Lemuria, getting infected by little bits of black goo and bringing it back to Lemuria.
Yeah. It's okay. It's part of our story. Lemuria could not stay
Yeah.
sane and holy. We needed to go through a complete experience of that type of darkness.
So,
It's
women
not
need.
nice to see how it developed, but it was for a purpose we all agreed to. So
So, Lilith was the stronger partner, the best match for Adam.
mm.
Why was that? Is it because of her strength and her wisdom and her intuition, whereas Eve was then the synthetic?
I don't know for what reason. Maybe just for the reason of being a twin flame and exactly knowing
Yeah.
her partner. Not
So,
sure.
moving from that, from your perspective, what is the are the traits of a healed masculine and a healed feminine?
There are two answers to it. I could go back to the time where we still were in order,
Yeah.
or I could wildly guess what the coming order will look like.
How about both?
So, first going back, um, I think the nicest way to share is also sharing an experience, which was completely weird, but it led to something. I was on the way back from a seminar already evening, like 10:30 p.m. My phone rings. There's a lady from Frankfurt on the phone. First, what I got from her was this victim thing. I'm a targeted individual. And I just said, sorry, I'm not interested. Victimhood is nothing I want to deal with. So
Yeah.
clean your body and all the electrocution will just go around you. And then you're fine. But don't blame someone else. Blame yourself for poisoning your body. Get yourself clean again, and then everything is fine. This is how you do it. Thank you and goodbye. Yeah. This is kind of how you
Yeah.
treat that type of victimhood normally.
Yes.
And she swallowed that pill, and then she started to talk about other topics. It was rather nice. And I enjoyed the conversation. It's like, okay to talk. And we talked about interview I gave in a studio environment where I shared some sorts of stories, and one of them was rather sad and ridiculous and ugly about myself. The reason why I dived into free energy research was I was on a trade fair for solar panels, and the companies all had their trade fair hostesses, with beautiful. And one little room was reserved for free energy research, kind of from an association from Berlin. But that was, no beauty, no money, just garage freaks trying to fumble around with the technology. And I said, if I make my career here in 10 years, I'm going to be the one at my side. And I just shared that in an interview, although it's in a way disgusting kind of reasoning. Um, and she went like, uh, she mentioned it, and then I said, I'm just honest. I'm ashamed of how I was, but I'm not ashamed enough to not say honestly that I was like that. And she went like, oh no, that's okay. And then she asked pretty private things, kind of that normally going to that border of privacy. And then she said, and by the way, I'm from Eritrea.
From where?
Eritrea, a country known for the beauty of their women.
This is Eastern European?
No, this is Northeast Africa.
I've never heard of it, so I'll look it up.
And then it kind of clicked. I was not 100% sure. I knew, okay, when I kind of answer openly, she's going to pretend nothing has been said. And my idea was she's offering her butt in a polite and half hidden way. I said, actually, just for you to know, I'm on the way back to my wife, who I really love, and I don't play games.
Yeah.
So just quit it. And she went, oh, what? I didn't do anything. And I said, if not, not. But I've seen enough of that to
Yeah.
say no in the first second. And I felt completely fine with it. Like I said no, thank you. Still, I kind of enjoyed the conversation because she had a really nice voice to listen to.
Yeah.
And then we quit it after a while. And then I shared the experience with Ilva. Next weekend, after the seminar, I brought Ilva to Berlin. And I just started talking, just mentioned that there was a phone call. And she went like, this woman, how disgusting. Yeah, she picked up the signature and instantly said, disgusting.
Yeah.
Bah!
I got
And
some voodoo in there, Harold.
and I just looked at her and why disgusting? It was, it's an offer. I say no, so where's the big point? Disgusting. Why didn't you just hang up first second? Get her signature, say no, thank you. She said there must be something. It was a test, and at least partly you failed. And then this was kind of the second jigsaw puzzle piece. And then 2 days later, I was giving an online seminar, and there was a lady. I just looked at her and said, "This is not a lady, this is a boy." Looked like just coming from the football, from the soccer field, tomboy.
Yep.
And I just said, "Okay, lesbian." It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not judging, but that was my um, perception I had. And I asked her openly. She said, "No, no, not lesbian, actually non-sexual." I was um, I was disappointed by men. Every single one whom I tried was a big disappointment, so I stopped reaching out into that direction. But that was the root cause of the problem she had,
Okay.
cutting out her femininity. And Ilva had shared something about how it is for younger girls when they turn 14, 15, that it's about showing off the beauty, being loved and adored for the beauty, having physical contact. But please, no penetration. This is completely no.
There's
But
a
you have these Hollywood fantasies and these porn industry
yeah,
fantasies looping back into every corner of your life.
correct,
So girls tend to molest themselves to fit into these looping
correct.
pictures.
Because they're
And
programmed to believe that their entire worth is how sexually desirable they are. And I know within
mm,
the Mormon community, they
mm,
won't have vaginal intercourse, the teenagers, but they'll have the other intercourse.
mm,
But from what I've seen behind like OnlyFans or some of these celebrities, the most beautiful women are hosted by male entities or demons. So it's causing that inversion in their sexual, because on some level they know that
mm,
it's not a woman, but they
mm,
are still attracted to it. And these young girls, that's how they're defining their worth. Like, if I'm
mm,
sexually desirable, I have worth.
mm. And um, I told this tomboy lady
Tomboy.
what what Ilva told me about how a girl feels, and that there's this princess
Yeah.
who wants to be adored and loved and petted, but not penetrated until she exactly knows that this is the man who's going to bring up my children, our children. And it's a security program for nature, not to have the wrong father in place. And that it's absolutely essential to honor the princess within. And we could then reintegrate her princess as a soul loss from that time,
Yeah.
and she could kind of switch back into the energy of her femininity.
Yes.
And while this is kind of the most interesting thing, while I was guiding her through, something in me clicked because I was speaking about the prince that has the patience to just love the young lady, not abuse her as a sexual object too early. It's just love and tenderness. And that this is what's supposed to happen. And I could kind of grab that energy of holding your own desires back in the name of love.
Yep.
And by feeling that in my own description, some split in me rearranged and healed.
And came back in.
And it's like a split connection between sacral chakra and heart chakra, where
So was it like a split that wasn't honoring the princess, that wasn't?
it was it was a split. I mean, it's you have two levels. You have the level of the deed,
Yep.
where it's easy to stay sober, to stay correct. You know, like don't fuck around when you're on the road. It would be so stupid, you know.
Yeah.
5 minutes of fun,
Yes.
And then you have all the drama following and you destroy your relation. You can't be so stupid,
No.
especially when you are on a level where you can't hide it.
Correct.
Yeah. When your partner is halfway with you and you try to keep a secret like that, it
Yeah.
simply doesn't work.
It does
So
not work.
it unfolds the destructive power,
Yeah.
and then you're there and you can fix it or you can't fix it. It's pure pain and pure destruction, and it's too stupid to go there. So of course, my mind is clear. You never go there.
Correct.
But that loose end from the sacral chakra, if it's not bound in the heart chakra, completely bound, it's projected outwards, and it's checking all the ladies without you even controlling it in any way. It's not that you decide, oh, let's have a look at her. She might be, oh, you know, potential for a lot of milk, or
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's not that the thoughts are involved. It's just the bioenergetic strand that is coupling, uncoupling, coupling, uncoupling, and this leaves the lady at home in insecurity.
Yeah.
Because if she's bound to you, she can feel that something in you is betraying. It's not part of the day consciousness, so there's no bad conscience on the male end, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And from this click where it's rearranged, suddenly I got the remark from her side that now she can trust me. And now she doesn't feel weird when I'm gone for a weekend for a seminar with all those ladies around. It's just like she can feel that
Yeah.
I'm connected with my heart, that I'm connected with her,
Yeah.
and that's all she needs to
That's all
trust.
she needs. I love Ilva, by the way. Um, I know that when my sacral was a mess, it was broadcasting all, remember over the summer, it was just broadcast, it was activated by someone, but it was broadcasting. And then I would get all these messages on Messenger. It's like, I just want to be left alone, without taking responsibility for what I was broadcasting, the availability. So, but we were going to talk about how the masculine was in Lemuria and the feminine, and what we're transitioning to,
Mm.
how that looks.
Do I have a clue? Let me think.
Well, you can. I remember in Lemuria being very feminine.
Mm. I mean, what I remember from back then is clearly split roles. The man was protecting and um, responsible to get food to the table, so nourishing, protecting, and he was in the outskirt. He was basically like a tornado turning around the village place, and the woman was staying in the calm in the middle, responsible for the cooking and the upbringing of the children. And that was how it was split,
Yeah.
and it's a very beautiful energy. Like it came to me one day the two reasons why this universe was created: the smell of coffee in the morning
Yes.
and the sound of a woman giggling at the campfire
Yeah.
while the man is hunting. This is kind of the most beautiful things you can have.
Yes. Or making love. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It.
depending on the coffee.
So you need a good cup of coffee to get the energy. Um,
No, joking.
no, it's
Um, so this is kind of the old pattern, and the only thing that I'm kind of grabbing is that um, this is this strong polarity of the hemispheres that are overlapping, so you can synchronize your male and your female.
yeah.
But the bonding and the relationship is by the female hemisphere of the man synchronizing with the female hemisphere of the woman.
So it's a different kind
Yeah.
of hemisync.
It's kind of cross syncing. Like what you can observe when a man falls in love with a woman, he becomes soft and tender.
Yeah.
So it's highlighting his female aspects. And when a
Okay.
woman falls in love with a man, she becomes strong and powerful,
Okay.
yeah, which is the male aspect. That is a bit undernourished
Yeah.
in the hemisphere identification and synchronization. So as a couple, you form a natural codependency where you both get their full potential as a couple.
So productive codependency.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I can imagine is because I can see more and more people opting for it. If you fuse your hemispheres, then you lose that form of polarity.
Correct.
It's not that you can't love, but the love is divine and unconditional, and whether the other one is around or not, it doesn't matter because you are in your full potential in any case because of the synchronized or the fused hemispheres um, co-activate each other with or without the partner.
I have some sadness,
Yeah.
Harold, about how beautiful we were.
Yes.
And the other place is that there's a lot of toxic podcasters. I don't need to name them that operate on the principle that you just spoke about, that there's a great deal of control and misogyny, and they've turned it into something toxic, like women are not capable and therefore they need men to take care of them and make decisions. And the woman
Mm,
has to do whatever I say because I'm providing for her.
mm.
The golden handcuffs.
Yeah. Your camera went dark.
Sorry?
Your camera went dark.
Hold on. Is it back on?
No. Can you switch off the camera? Yes.
Yeah.
Now you're back.
Yeah, it's the one on the computer. It's not as clear, but it'll be fine.
Mm,
So there's a lot
okay.
of the toxic, but not just masculinity. The
Mm,
women have become more manipulative on how to get the man into that role, but it's not
mm.
based in love.
I mean, we do have a history with each other. It's very tightly connected to the black magic realm
Okay.
because when women were ruling, because they are connected to the wisdom within, the
Yeah.
man is supposed to connect to the wisdom of his wife
Okay.
and listen to her. This is how it's originally built. So the women fell for the dark arts when they
First.
started first, when they were still in power. And they overdid it. And the man said, we're not willing to follow anymore because where you lead us, there's darkness. And they completely inverted the power structure originally to get rid of the black magic core that took over the women. And then they themselves got vulnerable because this lack of having the guidance of the woman opened the field to form hierarchies. So the men were rather listening to each other in a hierarchy than listening to a woman, and hierarchies are vulnerable. So the dark took also the male hierarchy. Yeah. And this is what we had till 1900, kind of the male dominating the
Yeah.
business. And then it's getting even more twisted, where the Baphomet energy pops in from the black magic realm, and they say, let's mix up everything. Like now the woman is supposed to become like a man,
Yeah. Correct.
emancipation. Yeah. How
I did it.
stupid!
I
Yeah, and the men are chemically castrated to become like women.
correct.
When you have the two boys driving around in the city on their e-scooter.
Yes.
compared to the two guys each driving a Harley Davidson in the 60s.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was the early 1990s. 60-year-old men had higher testosterone than a 20-year-old man today.
Yeah, it's chemical castration. It's what they
Yeah.
put in the food.
Is it chemical in part, but is it also the over coddling? Like I obviously I'm Generation X, so I was raised very differently. Like get up, tough it out, you can figure it out. And then the rebound was is that we're not going to raise our children the way that our parents did, and it's almost like we made them too soft and too much about identifying with their emotional bodies as who they are rather than like you are not your emotions. You feel your emotions, but you don't go all emo and goth.
Can't relate because you're in the States, I'm in Germany.
Yeah,
I can't really judge your experience. Whatever, neither in Germany nor in America we do have men.
correct.
The German men I know, they live on the Philippines, South Africa, and Namibia,
Yeah.
and Peru, and Patagonia.
Okay. So going back, so are this split twin flames? Would it be accurate to say that they are the boson pairs, where one shifts and the other shifts immediately?
With certain things, yes, it works that way. Especially contract work and decision making
Okay.
in the heart base. You can make choices for yourself and your partner.
Okay.
And it counts without contacting him, without asking for allowance. So if you're 100% sure that this is your twin flame, you can act that way.
Yeah. So why are trauma bonds misidentified as twin flames? And how do you tell the difference between the intensity of a twin flame relationship versus a trauma bond?
Telling the difference, I think the twin flame thing you can also feel when everything is completely quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the codependency thing, the bonding is when you just had a major fight and there's only one thing you wish in your life to get bit back at least a little bit of peace. Can you just acknowledge me and my beingness one time for a millisecond? I'll be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, this is trauma bonding.
Okay.
So it's coming out of a conflict situation and it's thriving in scarcity. So the scarcity is creating the binding moment, the lack of something. And the twin flame dynamic is the complete opposite energetically. It is that you
Calmer.
are in abundance, and the only thing that is binding you is the idea that everything less wouldn't feel as good.
Yeah. And what about the concept of whatever you do to your twin flame? And you know that I just experienced this where it comes back to you instantly. Would that be also an indicator
Mm.
that, like, if I'm saying, oh, that fucking
Yeah,
asshole,
yeah. That,
and
that definitely it's a difference from normal karma if you do something to your twin flame that runs much deeper because you literally did it to yourself.
but it's more instantaneous where you would feel the effects.
Not sure. It can also be longer lasting. I remember one client, she had a very, very, very first incarnation after being created, and she instantly sacrificed, blood sacrificed her twin flame. And she was half gone from
Oh
that.
my gosh.
And she had like, we had a look at, I think, 36 incarnations, and one was messier than the other. And we couldn't solve anything until we managed to get back to the very first one where did that really, 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 really stupid thing. And by fixing that, everything else could cascade.
Are you able to share what that really, really, really stupid thing was?
Blood sacrificing your twin flame.
Okay. In a black magic ritual.
Mm.
That's very sad. Did she heal?
Yes and no. It's like everything that could be done was done. Um, and I still get, every now and then, I still get emails, and every second one is like, okay, life is tough, but I think I can handle it. And the other one is like, um, guess tomorrow I'm committing suicide. Um, so I can't really say that it's stable, but this might be caused by the stupid fact that she was looking for help at the wrong address, and she had some long-term influence of psychopharmaca. So there was still something hovering in her body that was blocking certain receptors, keeping her in a drama state and not allowing true emotion or true feelings to be processed. And this is what we frequently find in people who have been on all sorts of medication, antidepressants or Prozac, or something is biochemically broken and we have no means to repair it.
How does the free will within the twin flame relationship work? Is there one will, or is there two separate wills that start to merge?
I think will is separated.
And how do you sync that? So if I'm feeling some emotions and it's automatically having an effect on my other half,
You punch his face.
you you know I did almost that. It sends a lightning bolt, right?
I didn't think about that one
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was the lightning bolt. And then when I spoke to you, you asked me why I had a lightning bolt in my
Yeah,
biofield. And I was like, oh, well,
yeah.
this is what I did.
Shit happens.
Shit happens. I'm trying to let
Mm.
it happen less, but it does still come in.
No, the will is overestimated. It's a force multiplier.
Okay.
It's the force multiplier that follows up the intention. Like intention is your finger on the steering wheel, and then you have the servo turning the wheels. This is the will. The will does not have any direction of its own.
Okay.
It's just like a method to double check on coherence with the collective. You know,
Yeah.
I intend to do something, and if there's space for it, I really want to do it. This is the step you take in your solar plexus. And then you take the intention plus will into your heart, and then you double check the higher order. Double check against Mother Earth, you double check against Source, and you double check your own divine soul plan for your life. And if you find coherence for your will in your heart, then you can make a decision and then miracles happen. So the will is just an intermediate step. So you actually never collide with the will of someone, you collide with his intention. And when someone is lost in his mental field, there is nothing else than intention. It's the only thing existing. And intention being mental, if there's no heart involved, is just an echo. So often it's a lost case because, if someone is lost in his own mental echo, he can just repeat the mistake from yesterday, or combine two mistakes and make a new one out of it. There's not much more to do, but there's not this hard consciousness that can be creative to make a decision on something that has never been there before. It simply doesn't happen because you just compare narratives in the mind. You can put 100 narratives next to each other and make calculations and calculate the best outcome for, and then make a decision. This is what I intend to do. I intend to choose the best outcome for this situation. But it's just in real life, it's just like the first spark to appear. And then you decide, do I really want to do this? Oh, yes, I want to do this. And can I decide to do so? And then you take the will to your heart. And then the final test for coherence is happening. And heart consciousness, you can't even describe it with words. It's a unique feeling of coherence, that everything is in place. And the angels sing, and Mother Earth is kissing you. And your heart says, yes, now. Sometimes it's the right thing, it's blessed from all ends, but it's supposed to happen in 3 days and not today. Then only your own heart will say, wait 2 more days, wait. Because it needs to be spot on. So this is what you do in the heart space. And this is kind of the biggest obstacle, I guess, for when you meet a twin flame that has wasted too much time and is occupied by um, all sorts of mind crap.
So if someone chooses to not be with their twin flame because they're still working on themselves and falling in love with themselves, is that a different dynamic than, no, I don't want my twin flame because it's too messy?
You're asking for a friend, huh?
Always. A friend of a friend, 10 times removed.
Uh,
But there is truth to that. I've played all the
mm,
roles my entire life of being the caretaker,
mm,
everything, all of that. And through me unfucking myself with your
mm,
techniques, I'm getting to feel myself for the first time as I really am, without the dark, without the ego. And I was feeling that I can only love another person to the extent that I love myself. And
true.
there's enjoyment right now in rediscovering myself underneath all of the layers.
Mm,
So it's not a fear. Well, there's some fears, and you know that they're very stupid fears, but there's some fears, but it's more that the more I heal myself, the more I love myself, the more available I am to the people in my life.
I mean, in a way, there's no need to worry because when you do that inner work for yourself,
Yep,
your twin flame is transforming with you.
correct. Oh, I'm not
And
worried at all.
there
Actually,
might be a time delay, but relatively short one.
yeah, but sometimes, as you know, with your relationship, the time delays are necessary to clean up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Perfect timing.
Yeah. So, would you like to talk about your current project with the books?
Mm, yeah, yeah. Um,
Because this is a very different thing for you to publish.
yeah, the thing, it's not explicitly about twin flames.
Correct.
It is actually when you look from the healing aspect, we regard narcissism, people pleasing, borderline, sociopathy, and psychopathy as a spectrum of more and more losing first control over your feelings and then access to the feelings. To the psychopath that feels nothing except of this weird wish not to lose control. Yeah, so at that, it's kind of the highest end of the spectrum. And the lower you get, the closer you come to your healing. And it's a spectrum that has very highly defined dynamics of codependencies that serve the healing aspect. And when we started to research that thing, it was always like looking straight at the codependency between narcissism, people pleasing, looking at the borderliner and the blocked perpetrator, the codependent of the borderliner.
So is it always
Mm.
narcissism and BPD or people pleaser?
This is what we looked at first, but when you look into reality, you realize that you do have interaction that use it as a staircase. Strongest one you can imagine is like imagine the psychopath falling in love with a borderliner. You can instantly feel how fruitful this is for both of them because the psycho is instantly confronted with shitloads of feeling, and
Yeah.
someone who completely breaks through every type of control because he's just gaga. As a
But
borderliner,
yeah,
you switch and then you do something um, that you a minute ago wouldn't even dreamed about doing, but it's compulsory at that moment, so you
right,
can't not do it.
right.
And then even the psycho can't stop you.
But isn't
So
the BPD the antidote for psychopathy, sociopathy, and narcissism?
you have interesting constellations everywhere on that level.
Right.
It's like, and what I did is I basically harvested the experience from dealing with clients that live through that spectrum and reduced it to the archetypal aspect of those interactions. And then I just allowed my spirit to get creative as creative writing and put it into short stories.
Okay.
That was kind of the first idea. Actually, it popped up as one narrative that came into my mind um, with a completely absurd and weird situation that I couldn't let go of. Then I said, okay, must be something about that situation. So I'm going to explore it by inventing a little story. This is how it started. And then I realized, okay, it's pulling in all the experience from dealing with those archetypes and conditions. And then I realized, oh, that wants to grow. And so I started altogether. It's now five stories, and one is a solitary one, and there are two pairs. One is kind of exactly the same narrative, looked at through the male psychopath and looked through the female borderliner,
Yeah.
describing the same story, but it's not announced, just two separate stories, so you don't even realize which story belongs where until you're in the middle of it.
So they're
And
meant
the
to
other
trigger emotions.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the other pair is there's one story that brings a solution, and then there is like the memory of the previous lifetime where the problem has its roots. but that lifetime was not enough to solve it. So it's handed over to the next one, and it's describing the mechanisms of handing over um, archetypal challenges.
So they're quite graphic and intense.
There are dense, there are intense, there are explicit in what I describe,
Yes,
and explicit also in the sexual sense, but it's not porn
correct.
and not kitsch.
Right. And
Which
it's
is a miracle to get that done because since Anais Nin,
yeah,
not a single author managed to evade one of the two things. Either it's kitsch or it's porn, and
yeah,
after Anais Nin, everyone else fell into one of the traps. And
correct.
I really try to do it in a way, yes, you need a tissue when you read it, but just for your tears.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
read it and I could feel the pings, the different pings, and but it's ultimately redemptive, so you're not doing spiritual erotica or spiritual porn. There's a
no, no,
redemptive.
it's not for that. It's
Correct.
understanding because what I realized when you do the therapy part,
Yeah,
people tell you everything, but they never tell you what happens in the bedroom. They're just too ashamed to share that part of their life. If I could get hold of those stories, I would be 10 times quicker in analyzing and grabbing the core problem because it has its purest expression in the area of intimacy. You exactly see how the trauma looks like.
I know
Um,
someone that you might potentially be able to speak with, and they're both might be willing to talk to you about some of the more hardcore stuff that in their
yeah,
codependency.
yeah, and this was kind of the first good experience um, with people who read the short stories that afterwards they opened up in the process work
Yeah,
to also share the intimate part. And it was not painful anymore because they had seen worse
correct. So are you
in the
planning to
narratives.
publish these or distribute them?
It's not at the moment. It's sailing round to the Cape of Good Hope, coming
Yeah,
from India. I had them printed in India because I wanted to have um, um, a leather
yeah.
envelope
Do you
that you
have one
can't
that you
pay.
could show?
Share screen, or
Or
I'll send you the picture and you
yeah, I
cut
have.
it in,
Yeah, I'll post the picture then on in this video when I
or
post it.
cut it in.
Yeah, I
It's
will.
easier.
I will cut it in. Is
So that's the German version. The English version is in the process of editing.
okay.
The first editor we had sadly got completely traumatized.
Well, she wasn't. So she's a dear friend of mine, and she's super sweet, and she read the book and all the way to the end. So I have to give her credit that she finished it.
Ah,
And
she did.
yeah,
Because after one and a half stories, she said, I can't do that.
yeah, yeah. But sh- she has a side right now that she's protecting. But if her and I have been friends, that tells you a lot for many years.
Mm.
And then she passed it on to a subcontractor. And I believe it was the subcontractor that said, well, there's a redemptive ending, but this is too much for me. so they, so they,
Okay,
and then the
okay.
other person was a writer in Hollywood, and she was okay with it. But then for some reason, you found someone else, so someone else was probably supposed to do it.
Yet I was happy because of the someone else was born in Germany,
Yep,
moved to the States age 18, so he has both languages
correct, correct. So it was a
um,
better fit.
completely in mother tongue status.
So is this for
Um,
grandmothers?
especially.
Especially.
They have seen everything.
Yes, 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 yes. When I think about both my mom's line and my dad's line, there's been a huge suppression of them sexually, a huge
Mm.
suppression of them for anything.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
you never know what happened behind the curtains.
Oh, I do.
You do.
You,
So did it work with the repression?
do you know? You remember my mom's mother?
Mm.
She found because she was naturally born with immense spiritual ability, and so she couldn't get power. Like her in-laws kept the money. Her, she was very young when she got married. She was 11 when she got married. So she found her power in the dark arts, which they could not control. So,
Mm.
so she was not suppressed. She was the one running the show using the dark arts. So
Mm.
it's like you said, it's not that clear just because you see something on 3D. She was
Mm.
manipulating everybody
Yeah.
through black magic.
Yeah. So the plan is that in a couple of months we
Okay.
will have the English translation available.
Okay.
And if you like to kind of receive a bigger package and distribute them just to save shipping costs,
Yeah. Yeah. I will
it
do it.
will be on Moksha Solutions, I guess then.
I guess so. I have to clean that website up. I don't even have an official website for my work yet, Harold. No place. I just trust that people will find me and email me, but I need to
Yeah,
clean that all up.
yeah. Actually, my initial idea was kind of to read half a story.
Could you
You know,
like me?
because normally when someone would come to me and say, actually, I'm a bridge building engineer and I decided to write short stories, I would say, yeah, maybe someone else could read them for me.
Would you like to read some right now? Do you have
Um,
time?
I wonder if, I mean, we can give it a try right now. If for whatever reason it doesn't work, I could
Okay.
do the recording at home and you can upload it
Oh,
on a
okay.
separate video. But we can give it a try in a minute. See, maybe this is the day to. My biggest problem with reading them, apart from me not being English speaking from early childhood, is that there's a shitload of trauma of my own encoded in
That you haven't
it.
cleared.
And apparently not fully, because I tend to completely break down at certain points and I can't control tears at that moment. So it's a matter of good or tough luck if I get through a passage or not. So this is why I say that we can give it a try.
Okay.
And if I get through, I get through. And if I break away, you can just cut it exactly here. And I'll do it in a calm spot when I'm contained.
Let's start. I'm ready whenever you
Okay, let me see. I have to get the text from somewhere. Mm,
are. Well, I'm just gonna pause it for 1 second.
okay, let me see. I found it. Um, need to clear up something extra. Um, okay, there we go. Okay, so this is kind of the one that is dealing with the healing of borderline as a condition. Not sure if I'm getting all through because that might take a while, but at least the first half is. bursting, or the first two-thirds. I called it the heroes of my downfall. The restaurant was packed to bursting. The tables on the street, the dining room, the narrow corridor leading to the side wing, past the toilets, into the club room, to the dance floor, the DJ booth, the front courtyard. Mostly young people at that age when you don't need a special reason to party. Everyone was excited about the new chief. He came from Porto and had served tapas in Matosinhos. He wanted to take it easy here, but they wanted to burst his bubble on his first night. The kitchen opened at 6 p.m. By 5 p.m. there were no more tables available. But she wasn't interested in the chief. She was interested in him. She knew he would be there. She knew that eventually he would be DJing. The mere thought made her legs weak and her thong dumb. You had the Portuguese and you had the Brazilians. Just one second. Justin! Okay.
You have to go.
Mama,
Yeah.
we need to bring Mama to bed.
Okay. So
I'll
we,
do the recording later on my
okay.
own.
Do you want to do an interview, continue it next week, or do you want to do it in private?
I'll give it a try in private,
Okay.
or I give you a call to have at least a little bit of audience because normally that helps.
I think it would help with your voice and you reading it.
When I have someone in front of me to be a little bit louder.
Okay.
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. So let's get back to that.
Yeah. Love you, Harold.